Hey guys, Furum here, and today I will be testing the TVR Sagaris in multiplayer for the second time. This time with a tune that I don't think I've seen anybody make a video of yet, but it is very good. So the rank is 1563, and the tuning is 0505, and in Pro Kits 5555. So it reaches its maximum speed at 120 rank below its max pro rank. That's pretty good. Our first race is on Rio de Janeiro against two MP48s and a Hommage, as well as another car that I do not know. So the Sagaris at this rank can reach 285 miles per hour. While this is not the fastest at this rank, it is certainly still very competitive. As you can see here, I am catching up to these MP48s fairly quickly now. So one thing about the Sagaris that is quite interesting, it handles extremely well, but it does not drift too great. So around a lot of turns, micro drifting is extremely effective, and some turns you don't even have to drift at all around. While its drifting radius is pretty wide, it is still narrower than something like, say, the Camaro or the SLK, so that's not too much of a detriment to it. While I do not care for the Sagaris' looks much, it is a fun car to drive, and I had a lot of fun testing it, and it just skidded back there, which is actually very unusual for this car. It is normally a very stable car. So we have passed those MP48s on one lap track. They were around the same rank, and we also beat that 1556 Hommage. This was the first race I played in this car, and I was pleasantly surprised. So now let's move on to the second race. And while I did not have too stiff of competition in this race, the only thing really in it was an MP48, I want to show you the power of the cave on Cloud 9. Yes, that twisty, windy tunnel where people find that they have a high tendency to wreck on. It turns out that going this direction on the track, not the other direction, it is in fact faster than going up to the right, as we will see here. It isn't faster by more than a second or two, but if you got a really close race, it will definitely save you some time, and you may pull out the win because of it. So that other MP48 was a good few seconds ahead of me, and he took the right route. I'm now going into the tunnel, and the Sagaris can take it pretty well. If you stay on the outside of the curves, you will be able to get through it a lot easier without wrecking. And we pop out just behind the MP48, much closer than we were when I entered the tunnel. Now here, since it was only a one-lap race, I was not sure if I was going to be able to catch up to him before the finish line, which is actually just around the corner. But because I'm at least 10 miles per hour faster than him, I slipped past him at the last second and managed to push ahead of him and get first. Now, check this out. We had the exact same frame, so it was less than a 30th of a second difference between us. That doesn't happen very often in multiplayer, but when it does in your favor, it sure feels pretty good. Now for a race on Patagonia against a Camaro, a Hommage, and an MP425. Yes, the Sagaris is playing against the big boys here, and the Trezor knocked us down because, well, the Trezor has really fast acceleration, as you will know if you watched my Trezor video. Here I caught up to this Hommage and tried to knock him down, but even though I was going faster than him and knocked against him multiple times, I still did not manage to knock him down. I've noticed that about Hommages. They seem to be very resilient to knockdown, so if you have a Hommage, that is definitely one of the car's strong points. Here it is best to go up this ramp fairly high so that you get a huge speed boost when you come down, and here this Camaro just shot past us, but not going a crazy amount faster. He went right there, but I like flat spinning down here, because number one, it gives me more nitro than going up top, and number two, I don't wreck like he just did, going the risky route to the right. Here, even though I usually go right, I am taking the left path. Why? Because the Sagaris does not drift well, and even though I could micro drift around the turns over there, I feel that it is much safer and will probably be better for me in the long run if I just go here and not risk it. I tend to try to not take a lot of unnecessary risks in multiplayer when I could do something that would be nearly as fast and much safer. So we have come in second in this race to an MP425 at rank 1591, but we did beat a 1540 Hommage and 1585 Camaro. Now remember that MP425's name. We see him again in this video, and in this race, actually. This race is probably one of the most intense and closest races that I have had. So because I start up quicker than the Hommages, I fly past them at the beginning, but of course the MP425, the car up ahead, speeds way ahead because it is the second fastest accelerating car in the game after the MP48. So even though the Sagaris is slower than the Hommages and the MP425s by a fairly decent amount, this race will hopefully show you that it still can compete fairly well against them. You don't have to worry about being just left in the dust. As you can see here, I am going right along with this MP425 and the two Hommages and not getting really far behind, and I am in fact catching up to the MP425. So one thing you may notice about the Sagaris that is a little bit of a disadvantage to it, it has kind of mediocre nitro efficiency. Not really bad such as the SLK has, but it's bad enough that you will need to do quite a few jumps to fill up your nitro bar, which may cause you to lose some speed. So that is one little thing to keep in mind if you are running this car. So here I am neck and neck with this MP425, but because I went up here, I slowed down. That's one thing, you've got to balance out your speed loss with your nitro gain of a ramp. In that case, I'm not actually sure what would have been better, but here, finally, near the end of the second lap, I've tried to push the Hommage to the side, but he manages to barely slip past me. And even though I take these turns much better than him, he goes past me at the last second and finishes just ahead of me. That was a really heart-pounding race for me. Even though I did not place well, I was not very far behind these cars, just a few seconds behind the number one spot. So here we have a race against the same MP425 as well as the same Camaro that we faced earlier on Patagonia. Now, I knocked him down at the beginning on purpose because, well, Camaros are faster than me, and it is good practice to try to knock down faster cars at the beginning if you accelerate faster than them. Most people keep their TVR Sagarises at either 1390 rank or 1480 rank. Now, I did do a test of this car at 1473 rank with a slightly different tune, so if you would like to see how it performs at a lower rank, you can check that video out. But I've never seen a test at this rank, and I have now managed to pass this MP425 around these corners, because I took them better than he did, even though the MP425 has better drifting. But the key there was I micro-drifted such that my speed hardly went down at all. That is one thing the Sagaris is good at, getting around sharp turns like that very quickly. I will say, the rank of the Sagaris that will probably give you the highest percentage of wins is the 1480 tune, which is 0505 5050. But if you tune it up to this rank, while you probably will not have as high of a win percentage, you might be able to achieve a higher rating because, well, the higher you go, generally in multiplayer ranks, the higher ratings of cars you will find. For example, the two cars that I am ahead of right now and I would have beat had it been a one-lap race are both above 2100 rating. Yes, they are getting beat by a Sagaris. I just want to show you guys that the Sagaris is not dead. A lot of people have been saying that ever since the SLK came onto the scene, but if you tune up to 1480 rank or even to this rank, you will see a lot fewer SLKs. One downside to micro-drifting is the fact that it sometimes can be inconsistent, as we saw at the second turn there, which caused me to bump the wall and lose some speed. But the two cars are still right behind us, and we are coming up to the end of the second lap. But because the Camaro is a faster car by a good bit, he passes me very soon before the finish line, but we still have the MP425 behind us. The MP425 is around 5 miles per hour faster than this car, but he is at a higher rank. However, even though this is a 2-lap race, we still managed to beat him as well as almost beating that Camaro again. So guys, in this video I tried something a little different. I didn't speed up or cut out any parts of the races such as the second lap or whatever. I don't know if you like this, but tell me in the comments below. Our next race is again on Rio, this time against a Sin R1 and a Vulcan, oh, and a Hommage as well. That's the thing, if you tune to this rank, you will be seeing a lot of those cars. However, I did get very good matchmaking in all these races, which is a little bit surprising since I wasn't risking points at all. The same thing happened with my 1561 Sin R1, just 2 ranks lower. I would like to correct a little mistake that I made in the previous video. The percentage of getting a blueprint for the BMW Special Edition out of a basic box is only around 11%. Not 40%, and the Pro box is lower than 60% as well. So, Elite boxes are the way to go. Save up your fan points until then, and you will get a lot more blueprints, probably twice as many than you would buying basic boxes with the same amount of fan points. So that's just a little tip for all of you going for the M2 Special Edition, which I know is almost over for most people, but, well, better late than never. So the Vulcan passed us near the end of the first lap, and here, because of the Camaro's superior speed, he manages to pass me as well. Had this have been a one-lap race, I would have beaten him. I did pick one lap all the time in these races that I played with the Sagaris, because its better acceleration than these cars is one of its biggest advantages over them. But because there are a lot of Hommages and Camaros around this rank, they pick 2 or 3 laps, and thus a lot of my races ended up being 2-lap races, such as this one. So the Vulcan and Camaro are ahead of us, but we are still ahead of a Sin R1 and a Hommage. The Sin R1 is the one directly behind us, who starts catching up a little bit now because I ran out of nitro and had to wag. But it was not enough, and I managed to cross the finish line ahead of him and the Hommage as well. So let's see what their ranks were. The Vulcan was 1586, Camaro 1581, Sin R1 1561, which is my tune, and 1575 for the Hommage. As I said, very good matchmaking, which is very surprising for not risking points. In this final race, we have a battle between me, an MP48, and the same Sin R1 that we faced last time, who starts up slower, but goes around 5 miles per hour faster at the same rank, which is not a whole lot, but it does allow him to catch up very slowly throughout the race. So now I will give my general review of this car. If you have not bought it yet, you probably should. It is one of only a couple credit purchasable cars in the game that can get you to Champion, the other being probably the Tryon Nemesis. So if you are relatively new to the game and would like a car that can get you to Champion without having to save up a whole lot of tokens, this is the car to go for. I would recommend beginning with a tune of 0500-5050, rank 1390. This is the tune that a lot of people start off with in the Sagaris, and it is a very good one. If you're not satisfied with it, or if you're seeing too many SLKs, you might want to tune higher. So at that point, you should tune Nitro to 5, and you'll be at 1480 rank. This one gives the highest win rate, and should be able to get you to Champion, as well as the tune that I'm using now should also be able to do. So thank you all for watching, please like the video if you enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt 8 content, and I will see you later. Goodbye!